booties for black girl nerds.
Thank you so much. It's
How are
such a
you?
pleasure to be with you. I've wanted to talk to you for such a long time. I've seen lots of things that you've been in, and this is
Oh,
a
thank you.
terrific fit for you. So thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. I just want to say I'm a fan of Black Girl Nerds. Like, I think I follow you guys on Twitter. I've reposted a bunch of your stuff. I love it. Thank
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that
you. Yeah,
greatly.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
a very cool opportunity to be part of a storied franchise. It's connected to a video game that so many people have loved and played over the years. When
Mm-hmm.
you first think of bringing a video game character to life, is it as simple as go play the game for a few hours or watching old projects? How did you prepare specifically outside of the physicality? How do you get ready to bring a character like this to life?
Um, it's yeah. Well, I started with a Ernest Hemingway quote that I'm gonna butcher because I keep butchering it, and people keep trying to tell me what it is, and I just keep butchering it. So here we go. It goes something like this. It's a paraphrase. Once you have hunted and killed trained men long enough, you have very little appetite for anything else thereafter. And I think that's where Jack started. Right? Like he started off as a special forces assassin, and then he's moved on to, and that wasn't good enough. So he moved on to now hunting and assassinating interdimensional ninjas and monsters. Sounds like a special forces overachiever, right? So like you have to ask yourself, how does one get there? How does one get there emotionally, psychologically? Um, how was it not enough to go get El Chapo or Bin Laden? Like what was in your past? What motivated you to bring yourself to a space where you were going to put your life on the line for something that no one knows about and fighting monsters? And who do you have to become for that? And so like I kept a journal of Jack's, like, and I was like, okay, this is who he is, where he's from, what he's been through. This is what has pushed him to the edge of no return, and this is who he's become. And frankly, you have to be a monster to hunt monsters. And so I had to find that room in my psychology to make that okay, because I'm a pacifist, you know what I mean? so and so he's there's a mind, body, and spirit thing that goes into that. And I think, and then also then you have to walk this kind of fine line of giving the fans what they want to, right? Because he's, video game characters are an extension of people's motor skills. They're an extension of people's consciousness in some ways, because they're here, you are doing this and they're responding, right? So everybody kind of feels like they have proprietorship over that character in a way. And that pressure, it's daunting, I'm not gonna lie, but at a certain point in time, you have to realize pressure busts pipes, or it makes diamonds. And I think everybody in this film made a diamond.
Mm-hmm. On the flip of that, since you mentioned that, it's almost like your character is a sense of empowerment for some people too, who naturally aren't that strong. Your character, who's probably spent hours kicking butt under the guise of Jax and representing
Yeah.
that for them. So would you say the flip of that is you were considered a hero, probably to a large population of people who played that character?
I would definitely say that Jax is definitely a hero, and I consider Jax a hero. I loved playing with Scorpion and Jax. Both of those are my two favorite characters from the old game into the new game, and he's been a hero for me. Like, in every one man's vigilante is another man's hero, right?
Right.
One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. So like, there's people who are aware of Jax, but they hate him because they love Kung Lao, right? Or someone else, right? So like, yeah, Jax is definitely a hero, and I think that we need to be adding more diverse heroes to the pantheon of Hollywood. So I'm happy to be a part of that process.
Yeah, I like a flawed hero. It makes them more human, and I'm sure people will like that
Yeah,
a lot about
yeah.
your how you bring Jax to life in this film. With
Thank you.
with his physicality, you're naturally a physically fit kind of guy, And we have people to assist you to execute some of the harder things, I'm sure. But how has this challenged you physically doing these things? Because it's a whole level, a different level of physical fitness than, go and do a mud run or go and do the Spartan race or something like that.
Yeah. This was the most physically challenging thing I've ever done in my life. I'm in pretty good shape, but then like when I started, like when I first got the character, actually before when I auditioned for the character, I was like, if I get this, I got to put on like 40, 45 pounds because this guy's huge. He's a monster. And so I by the time we got into about 2 or 3 weeks into shooting, I put on 45 pounds. I was in the gym, 6 days a week. I was sometimes twice a day, boxing, 5 days a week. So like I had to really learn how to fight. This is my first fight movie. I'd done fight sequences before, but I had never done a complete action film. And it was really physically challenging, but I can't wait to do it again. I love it. I really love it.
Mm-hmm. It's something about those films like that, to watch just the stars. It's exciting to see the final product, the final film, but just to go back, and now we have social, to watch what you all do transformative to your bodies. One of your co-stars told me that she kept weights on set so she could look a little pumped, every time you guys were getting ready to shoot something. I'm like, oh, that's very clever. I didn't think of that. Guys drop down, do a few push-ups. She kept some weights.
Yeah, we all had we had more or less like a makeshift weight room on set. So because everybody kind of brought their own weights, and if you didn't have them, you're lifting up sandbags. It's like like the crew has sandbags to hold down like equipment. So you're doing these with the sandbags. You're doing what you can to make sure that these characters pop more than bigger than real life, because they're video game characters. Like you don't want to go over the top, but at the same time you want to make them you want to give the fans what they want when they've been playing the game for so long.
Mm-hmm. With superheroes, there's always the superhero walk, and there's a superhero, got to give the daunting stare. What's the key to a good superhero walk? How do they choreograph the superhero walk for you?
The superhero walk is interesting. It's posture, right? You just make sure that your spine is straight. You make sure your shoulders are back. You make sure your chest is out. And if you sit there long enough doing that, there's a confidence that comes over you, right? And you know who does it well? You know who does it really well? Barack Obama. He does the superhero stance very well. So here's my Obama for you. So yeah, it's funny. Like you could pull from all types of different people, right? And John F. Kennedy did it really well. Barack Obama does it really well. Martin Luther King did it. Like anybody who's walking into the darkness or walking into a cloud of disgust with their chest out and their chin held high is doing a superhero walk, and we see it every day. We see it from our activists in BLM. We see it from our activists to Stop Asian Hate. We see it from women who are declaring times up. We see it all the time.
Absolutely. And lastly, I just have one question, and it's unrelated to Mortal Kombat. One of my favorite projects of yours was an episode of SVU that you were on with Heavy D. And I love that episode, and I love Heavy D. And it was the last thing I remember seeing him in before he unfortunately passed away. Do you remember anything about that and working with Heavy D?
Yes, I actually do. I had a great time with Hev. He was amazing. We exchanged numbers. We talked a bit. We hung out a couple times, and we would always be really friendly with each other when we saw each other at events or whatever the case was. But like, I remember just asking him 1,000 questions because when I was growing up, like I had older cousins and they were huge Heavy D fans, right? And I was just talking to him like just about the old days, and like he was happy to talk to me about them, and we he was a superhero fan, So we talked about superhero stuff. Like I'm a big superhero fan, so we had a lot in common. And really smart guy. Like I think that's what goes unmentioned about him. That he's really, really intelligent, really thoughtful, great listener, great conversationalist, and he's missed beyond belief. Truly.
Absolutely. I think about
Yeah.
him when I see some of these versus battles. He would have been great.
Hold on. So who would you put him up against?
Heavy D has so many good dance hits. I don't know, maybe him and like a Hammer or somebody like that that had you dancing during that era. I'd have to think about that a little. I think he'd kill Hammer, but someone like that.
He got more hits than Hammer. He got more
For
hits than Hammer.
sure. For sure.
I'd say, yeah, that's a good one. Like, is it East Coast, West Coast? Okay. Or it could be, what was it? All around the world, same song.
Oh, Digital Underground.
They could do Digital Underground.
Now that's a good one too. That's a really good one.
Heavy D versus Digital Underground could have been it.
Yeah. Well,
Guess
sir,
we'll never know. Yeah.
I thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed you in this. I enjoy you in all the projects that I've seen you in throughout the years. And I hope the fans love it as much as I love seeing you in it. From your lips to God's ears to the box office. Amen. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.